I did the 10-year numbers or 8-year numbers for Innisfil, Mark, all the way back for solds and actives. And you're watching Diana Mark on Real Estate News and Views. And I want to share it with you because you're going to freak out.
I think it's good. I think it's good for a couple of reasons. It's good for the viewers that are currently in the market and good for the viewers that are thinking about either buying or selling. This tells the story. The numbers don't lie. Say it all the time, right? Right now, we are in a market where there's an abundance of inventory.
Yeah.
We're seeing that through all different price ranges, right? That hasn't
Mhm.
changed. Hasn't changed in 2 years. Now we're seeing it get into levels and elevated levels that we're going, holy cow, like wow. And the sales are not doing anything.
No.
You
Well,
know,
and you know the thing that is interesting to me is it in Innisfil, it's a lot more apparent when there was like booms
yes.
than we see in Barrie. So I'll show you, and then so these are the Innisfil 10-year numbers.
We want to talk about the inventory too. Before we read the numbers, click the like button, click the subscribe button for more information on Zimco real estate market, including Barrie Innisfil, etc. And we have two links in our top of our descriptions. One is for home evaluation. Another one is for if you're thinking about buying a property, we can help you out based on your criteria. So click the links for more details. Okay, let's take it away.
Okay, so as you can see, our actives, our active listings in Innisfil are like huge. Like check this out. Okay, January 293.
Okay,
Okay.
we can do the math here. Okay, because I want to see the percentage. How much in?
And do you see any other year where it was even 293? The closest we got was 2019, 284.
Right.
Okay. So in March, 363.
What was March
Last year, that's
2?
this March. Last year, 208. 2023, 218. 2022, 111. 22, like the only year again, 2019, we got close to the number.
Yeah, and that was not a year that stood out. COVID came in 2020, and we saw like a pause, and you know what I mean. Values dropped within 8 weeks, and then boom back up once the Feds chop the rates. But it's been a pretty consistent increase. The closest one is what is in 2019 for 415,
Yeah.
right?
No,
So,
no, no. It was 375 in March.
oh, sorry, 375. Okay. And what's it right now?
We're
363.
363. So that's the only time.
That's the only time back 6 years ago that inventory was actually greater than what it is now, right?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go back to that number again, please. I want to see the sales in 2019 from that.
Well, okay. So that's another thing I was just going to say. So we had 43 sales this month, this year, right?
Okay.
Look back over all the years in March,
Okay, let's start at the beginning. So 2017, we saw 97. So cut it in half, right? Close enough.
2018.
51, 27, yeah, 2018, 51 at par. Nothing really stands out with me in 2018. Okay.
We had
2009,
77 sales in the year that we had 375 actives.
right. And now we had 48, correct?
Yeah.
So a massive increase, 40% increase.
Yeah.
Back in 19, so it's a 40% decrease where we are now, and we're at just as much inventory. And this isn't uncommon. This
Well,
is
you know what freaked me out when I was doing these numbers, Mark? Look at the markets when it was crazy. Okay?
okay. Let's go back there. Let's go back to the March then of 2020. Didn't
All
really
right.
go bananas yet.
So, not 2020. Look at 2017. We had 36 solds, only 47 active.
That's in January.
February, 60 sold, only 42 active. March, 97 sold, only 89 active.
So the solds are outpacing listings coming on the board actively.
Yeah.
So things were selling pretty relatively
And
quickly.
this would be a seller's market in here, right?
Well, the inventories, it's hard to say because,
As
they're
fast
sold
as they were
pretty.
coming out, they were selling, Mark.
So yeah, fair enough. True. Yeah. And then let's also talk at that point too, is that we're also missing a fact that we need to comment on is look how cheaper home prices were
Yes.
back in 17 than where they are today.
Yeah.
Massive,
Yeah.
massive.
And then in
You could buy a townhouse.
2022, sorry, in 2022, when we saw all that huge activity,
Mhm.
same thing. Look at the numbers. 53 sold, only 32 active.
And we were at the peak. The peak ended about close to the end of March. So, I'm not surprised with 78 sales. There was no inventory. Everything that came up, it drastically got sold instantly. Everybody was holding off on offers, multiple bids, 30, 40 offers that some people were getting on their listings, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a crazy time.
Well, in March of that year, 99 sold, there was only 111 active. And then in
Right.
2021, 174 sold, only 160 active.
Mhm.
Like March in Innisfil historically is not a big inventory number,
No, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
but it is now.
It is now. And excuse me, with the home prices gone up so much, it has pushed a lot of people out of the market. Got to cut. That's a fair shake,
Hmm.
right? Affordability has eroded for a lot of people. Cost of living has gone up so much in the last 3 years, 4 years, right?
Hmm.
It all plays a part of our markets. But what I don't understand too is when we continually see inventory as a consumer with that much inventory, I get the question all the time, well, prices are going to come down. But we're not seeing that, Diane. Why are we seeing that today?
Okay, so I remember I was telling
Excuse me.
remember when I was telling you yesterday I was talking to another agent in our office
Mhm.
and he said, "I don't understand what's going on. First of all, interest rates have come down a bit, which they have. Lending rules have gotten a little bit easier with the amortization longer, with you can go to 1.5 million, CMHC. Like there has been some lending rule easing up. He said we have more inventory than we've seen like in years and years, and the prices aren't coming down.
Okay. Fair
He
assumption.
said his philosophy, which we've been talking the same thing, and I think this is what's also stalling the market. The philosophy is if we have an overabundance of inventory and sales are down, prices are going to go down. But it's not happening.
It's not. You need a drink of water.
Yeah, get some water. So, I mean, it's not only the general public that is confused by what's happening right now, it's agents that have been doing this for years and years, and they're saying the same thing. Like,
They're saying the same thing, but it's not represented. It's not represented on the real estate market today. It's not represented because that, whatever the agent you were talking with, it doesn't matter. They don't know the numbers. They don't have the data. They don't. They don't have the information that we have. You told me that agent, and I'm not going to call him out, was very surprised at the inventory between a million and 1.5, we're going to say.
well,
Holy
and how many
cow.
sold
He didn't know.
in
How
Barrie?
many, when you're going into advising clients and you don't know actually what's going on in the market in a sense of listings and inventory and what's selling, how could the clients be advised? So are the agents, because I've been trying to figure this out for 2.5 years and I keep banging my head in the wall. So are those agents going into homes today to say, yeah, there's a lot of inventory in the market, but I think we show better than most of the homes. I think I can get you that. You're damn right it's happening because the inventory is sitting. How many
Well,
times have we gone through listings and listings at all certain levels and nothing changes? 30 days, 40 days, cancel, relist. Like it's just ongoing.
Well, he thinks the same thing that kind of we have been saying for a while now is that agents are pricing for what's listed, not what's sold.
I,
So,
I,
and there's so much overpriced. Like I told you, me and you,
they don't know the information. I come to the conclusion now is they don't have the data. Or the data is there, they're not interpreting the data, they're not spending enough times understanding the data.
or
It's
are
all
they just
for
going by
everybody.
what's listed? Okay, oh, your
Maybe,
neighbor
maybe,
down the
maybe.
street is listed for 1.3 and you look better than them, so we'll go 135.
But that's not working. That's not really advising the client in a good way.
No, because the neighbor's been for sale for a year
Gotta look at
and
that.
nothing's happened.
So I looked at my listing, not my listing, sorry, the one I was trying to go after just before hopping on this on the video. Surprise, surprise, two offers, as you know, 41 McAvoy had a price increase of $100,000 today. It is now listed at $1,199,000, listed for 9 days. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I thought it was conditionally sold.
So that's the information that I got too. Why isn't it reported? Wait for a deposit, right? That the
No, okay,
conversation,
so it's illegal to do that, by the way.
correct.
So I had an offer one time. I was trying to put an offer on one in Innisfil on Sandy Cove Drive, and they had a conditional sale on it. So they actually, and you know the agent, it's a lady agent anyway in Barrie that had the conditional offer on it. And I listed one across the road, and she called me, and her client wanted to see it. She goes, "Well, we have a conditional offer on the one across the road, but I don't know if we're going to end up selling in time." And I said, "Well, you don't have a conditional offer. They canceled and relisted at a higher price today." She goes, "Well, they couldn't have because I have a conditional offer for 2 more weeks." She went on the board and they canceled and relisted at a higher price and did not report the conditional offer because people, when you accept a conditional offer on the condition that somebody sells their house, you stop getting showings. People don't look at your house anymore. Even though you could bump them and you could put in a firm offer and those people, if they haven't sold their house, they would lose it. They would lose the purchase. People just don't bother to go.
But yes, to that point. But my point was more at there's an agent that really does understand this market. Let's be honest. Doesn't understand the market. We didn't sell. We want 1.2 and everything else is that's what we want. That area does not justify a 1.2. People, this market is not a good market. We could go and when we're done, I want to go through the current inventory in Innisfil, even though we're talking about a different area right now, but it's right at the doorstep in a sense. There's a lot to choose from, and most of it is overpriced inventory.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna check right now. We're gonna go on the board because when I was doing this, I was shocked at some of the low numbers, like the low actives
In which range? In what community?
in Innisfil. We're in Innisfil here. Like I was very shocked at like even last year, 309, 377, like in that we got higher in the fall market and then it dropped again, right?
Yeah, varies a little similar, but inventory has been up across the board, like huge for Innisfil, for all communities in Simcoe County, right? It hasn't changed.
No, and what we're gonna do too, I want to look. Hold on, I'm just gonna log in here.
If someone
Um,
is looking at listing their home today or is currently listed, they need data to make decisions on and have a realistic price for what the market will bear today.
well, the other thing is in Innisfil, and this is why I want to go back to over here now for a second. Where's the bulk of our actives?
Okay, well, show the viewer that then. We know where it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna show them once I get over there. So the bulk is still at over 1 million.
Correct. And it always has, and it always will be in that community.
Yeah. So there's 149 in that price in that range.
Right.
Everything else is,
Eight,
basically you can say 50 and under, like 52,
right.
whatever. It's very close, right?
Right. And in the bulk of the inventory in the community, it does give a true representation of what the price points are. It is definitely over a million and above. But when we're talking about Innisfil and we see in that bulk of the inventory in that million and above range, we're only seeing 8% of the product sell. That's got to be alarming. That's got to be alarming to a seller, Dan. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Do you think they know that?
No, they don't. They don't know that. I can't call sellers, all the sellers are stupid out there. I can't say all the agents are stupid out there by looking at these prices. It's just, I don't really think a lot of them have the numbers and are passing that information on because they don't know.
Good
That's
Lord, Lifton. $1 million.
490 days on market.
No basement, one floor, 1,100 to 1,500 square foot, one car garage. No basement. So this is it. What you see is what you get.
A year and a half. Like, no, this is, are we trying to create
Pretty,
a
don't
market
get me
for
wrong, but who's paying $1 million
no one
for
is. No
one
one is.
floor?
No one is. No one is. Can't create a market for overpriced product today.
This is 1,025,000.
We can show these all day long.
Oh yeah.
There's 149 to pick from,
Yeah.
right? And trust me,
This one I would say is probably decent
that's better.
price.
Me too. Based on the
It's
square footage.
3,000 to 3,500 square feet.
Pull the history on it though. I think it's a decent price right now.
For how
For
big it is. Yeah.
where do we start off at?
Last May, no. Last April, no. Last February, no. January,
January 2024.
1,269.
Okay,
And we're down to 1,025,000.
hang on.
I think 1,025,000 is a good price. Like, for
Now it
what
is.
it is.
So that's a $244,000 reduction in price.
Yeah.
And months on the board. Now we're both saying that's an okay price. It is. Why did it take 8 months to get there?
Don't know.
Don't know. If your property isn't selling within the first 2 weeks, you're overpriced.
Yeah. Like this is a big
By,
house.
probably by 10%, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
So
I would okay, so here's another one. Two.
nine.
Okay, you ready?
That one's been over. That's a reduction of 20% in the price.
Yeah.
That's how far over where they started at.
Yeah. 1,049,000, 2+2 bed, two bath, one picture, single car garage, older home. 1,049,000.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Of course, it's somebody from Toronto.
I advise anyone listed right now, ask the realtor the numbers. And if you're watching this, I'd love to see a comment from some viewer of this channel to go, "Hey, Mark and Dan, we took your advice. We asked our realtor to see if they knew the market, like you guys did. Pick up the phone and call and say, hey, how many homes have sold in the month of March be priced from a million and above in Innisfil? They're not going to know.
Oh my gosh, Mark, this
How
one.
much inventory is there in that price range? They're not going to know. They're
This
not going to
is
know.
this is craziness, this one. 1,049,000, White Cap Drive, nice area.
Yeah. Well, let's not bore the viewers with these listings because we could do this all day. I really think the story's in the numbers
Well,
and
it,
what we're
it
not
is,
seeing.
it is, and I think people have to realize, like I just showed two or three there. Like, where on earth is that number coming from?
So put a challenge out there. That's what I said. I'd love to see comments. I would do backflips for comments from actually listed properties on my listed properties that people have listed and asking their agent hard, difficult questions that I know right now they're not going to have the answers for.
Well, I know, but I think some of it too, honestly, it's the seller.
I'm not saying it's part of it is, don't get me wrong. But
Because
why
I've talked
even
to some,
have a conversation? Then why wouldn't you why wouldn't the conversation come going, well, I can't really create a market for that price point today. Here's why.
well, you've turned down people.
I turn down people because there's no sense because I can't sell the property. I can't create a market for the property. There's no market for that at that price point. So why would I take on the listing? You're going to hate my guts within 3 months. You're going to want me to open house the shit out of the property. You're going to want me to spend all kinds of money advertising it, and I can't sell it. Sorry, it's not for me. It doesn't
Well,
make
and
sense to take
yeah,
that.
and I think some people think, oh, we just don't want to do it because we're lazy or we don't want to spend the money. My
Oh,
biggest thing is
there's no
I
market.
don't, well, I don't want to deal with people that are not ha unhappy. Like you end up in a war over things because it's not selling, and then okay, we need to drop the price. No, I'm not dropping the price. And like you said, well, I remember getting into it with one of my clients. Well, when you open house, you're not putting balloons on the corner.
A balloon isn't going to drive the traffic to the open house. Sorry. Vi- No one's going to open houses today. It's so dead out there for open houses. Right now, what we're dealing with right now with these tariffs and election coming up, there's uncertainty. People aren't driving around looking for open houses. I'm
And and
so,
a lot of people do it, but it's a Sunday drive. Some people aren't even looking to buy.
yeah, some people pull in. Now we're in the area, so we saw your sign. Want to see what it looks like. Okay,
Yeah.
great. They're not serious buyers. Like,
No,
and,
no. And I find that serious buyers, like they go on realtor.ca now because they can pick all the open houses that day. If you go on realtor.ca, you can pick open houses, and you can even see the ones coming up this weekend.
Mhm.
And I would have people that wrote them all down and they
Oh,
were doing a little tour, right?
yeah, well, that is in the market now, right? We're not seeing that. We're seeing an
Serious
inventory buildup in
serious buyers make appointments to see your house.
pretty much. Yeah, yeah.
They've sold their house, they're looking for a property, they have an agent, and
Mhm.
if they're serious, they make an appointment.
Right. Yeah, right.
They're not just cruising around thinking, "Oh, geez, I wonder if we should buy that house." Like people, you have to give people credit. They're a lot more educated than they used to be.
Well, they are to a point, but there's information anywhere. Anybody get information anywhere. But why aren't we seeing it in the smart? Why aren't we seeing it in the numbers then?
Oh, guess what Jessica's just said to me?
What?
She says, "Well, Diane, the market's supposed to." I'm going to plug in my computer. She says, "The market's supposed to pick up." I said, "What are you talking about?" "Oh yeah, I hear it everywhere. The market's picking up." I said, "Well,
Picking
Jess,
up where?
I don't know."
In
She
North Bay?
says, "Oh, it's supposed to pick up in 2025. Like it's supposed to
Okay.
start picking up soon."
Okay. Well,
I
that
said,
doesn't happen.
and she's an agent, people, just so you know. Like she's an agent. And I said, "Where are you hearing that?" "Well, I've been seeing articles all over." "Where?"
It's not happening. It's not
I
happening.
told her, like, Jess, I don't know where you're seeing these things because I'm not seeing that.
No. So there's an agent that doesn't know the market. Let's be honest.
No.
Doesn't know the market, right? So that person is representing people. See, the market's going to pick up this year. You know what? I've seen lots of information. I think that's a good price. And that's it. Meanwhile, the house will just sit. Where do
Or
where do people get an accurate picture of what the market is doing? Is in the sold data. It's right there.
that's right.
We went through four listings. Dad, pull the history. Okay. Oh, that one's priced good at 1,025,000. Yeah, they took a 20% haircut. It only took them 8 months. That house probably would have sold 8 months ago if it was listed at that price.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it would have.
But it would have, but the seller would never have dropped 200 grand. They wouldn't have.
But why not? The property's not. There's not a valuation there for that million in 269 they started off. Where are you getting that price from? Look at the numbers, 149, 145 listed that range. How are you going to stand out? Not with that price point. You stand out better now with your million 25. You price we're saying it. That's a fair price for that property today. But inflating it, I think,
Yeah,
oh, we got to leave room for negotiations.
yeah, I
No,
know.
why do you need to leave room for negotiations? If you're priced right, Dan, you're going to probably, in today's market, because people are so sick of seeing everything overpriced, and they're going, that's a decent price, you're going to get real close to it.
Well, listen, I had that discussion with somebody that was a tenant looking at one of my properties I have for lease. And he's selling his house with another agent, a Toronto agent, and they're priced 35,000 higher or 30,000 higher than he would take. And I said, "Well, if you get under that 700 mark and do 699, I said you're going to get all kinds of action." I
You
said
get
if you're staying at 725 or whatever, you're not. And for the first 6 days, he said he had no showings at all.
right, right.
Now, on the weekend, he got a couple, but he says, "Well, I need to leave myself room to negotiate." And I said, "Well, no, you don't." I said, if you're priced well, you could get 5,000 off where you're priced if you're priced well. You don't have to take a $20,000 hit. Why do you?
You don't. You don't.
No.
Don't. My client texted me something today. I'm gonna read it to you. That was about the McAvoy property. He goes, "What do you think their thinking is?" I said, "Well, you have an agent giving bad advice. They don't understand the market. Who's the agent? It's an out-of-town agent, whatever. Why are they selling in Barrie? Well, they can. They have the right to sell in Barrie. Real estate agents licensed in Ontario can sell anywhere in Ontario. Why would a seller not take a local agent? Question mark. He goes, I figure agents kind of stick to an area just because they know it. Some do. Like, I'm not going to go sell a property in Sault Ste. Marie. I
I
don't know
don't
Sault Ste. Marie.
know.
I'm not going to go sell a property. I could do it a bit down, maybe as far as Richmond Hill. I'm not going to Markham. I don't know the areas. So why would I can't represent in a good way that way. Like, Barry inside and out. I would not want to anyone else selling my home or giving me advice because we know the market, right? So that's what's happening in especially Innisfil. It's dominated by out of town agents.
Innisfil's dominated by them. And
Dominated.
even, well, and
Dom-
I lived there like over 25 years and I used to be shocked by it all the time. But, the reality is these people come up here and buy with them
Right. Yeah.
and then they sell with them when they go to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. It's typical. It's normal. You're
Yeah.
saying, right. But most of
But
those,
you know how many times in Innisfil when I was looking for when I had buyers down there and we're looking and they'd call me and they'd say, "Oh, this house is for sale at this address, but I can't find it. How much?"
yeah.
So I'd look it up. Oh, it's sold.
Yeah.
And then, they'd find another one and I'm like, "Well, it's sold." Well, there's no sold signs.
Yeah. They're not coming to put them on.
No,
I'll drive it up.
they're not going to drive an hour to go put a freaking sold sign up.
Even with the seller, there's an idea. But yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, I don't know. I don't think I have any much more to talk about other than get the data, get the numbers. And I would
And
love,
and
love, 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 and love more is if people that are currently listed out there ask their agent one question. How much inventory is in my neighborhood, or how much inventory is in the community?
how much is in my price
Oh,
range?
there too. How much is sold in my price range last month?
Yeah,
Right now, I know the answers you're going to get. I'll have to get back to you. I don't know. Or just pick up the phone, send them a text.
yeah,
No, pick up the phone's better because then you're really going to don't give them no time. That's
yeah, yeah,
right. Don't text, don't send me email because they have all the time. Or make a phone call
yeah,
and then leave a comment in here.
yeah.
That's what I'd love that. That's a whole video right there. I'd love to hear the reality from people. Make stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah, so what's the percentage or how many are selling in my price range in Barrie right now?
Mm-hmm.
Or in Innisfil, either one.
Hey, Mark, I don't care if it's in GTA. Just I don't care if it's in Sault Ste. Marie. I don't care. I'd love to know some comments for some people that are currently listed. Right? I
Yeah.
think it's great because we keep banging our heads. My head's going to explode soon because it's got so many dents on it because I just don't get it. So there's there's some good things to do. Okay,
Yeah.
let's wrap that up. All
Okay.
right. See ya.
See ya.